This is Eric Cooper of Night Seeker. You're listening to Comic Book Corner.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Corner, Episode 1. I'm Steve.
I'm Joe.
And you probably know us from Dinner and a Podcast. We are the two co-hosts of Dinner and a Podcast, along with our friend Mike. And we used to have a little segment of the show called Comic Book Corner, where we talked about our comics. But we thought it was a better idea if we kind of dedicated some more time to talking about the books. We felt a little rushed when we were doing it on Dinner and a Podcast, and Mike wasn't always interested in the comics that we were reading. So we decided to give you its own special show. So every week or so, maybe every other week, depending on how many books come out and how much we get to read, we're going to be going over the big books that are coming out in the stores, and we're going to be also talking about the books that we like. Do you want to give the people out there listening a little intro to what we like and what we're into and what our favorite characters are?
Sure.
So what do we got?
I love my Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Batman's up there now.
Yeah.
He's kind of grown on me.
Mm-hmm.
I was always a fan of Wolverine.
Yep.
And the comics that really got me into, collecting were G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Right.
So I'll always pick up whatever those side comics come out.
You still read Transformers books?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
I buy Transformers. I buy G.I. Joe. The main runs that come out,
right?
Not like the side stuff that's kind of put out there now. But yeah, I like buying those weird independent books that no one wants to pick up,
right? But
you can never find them because they only make like 10 or 12 copies that the stores carry. So if you don't get them on Wednesday, you can't find them. I've
tried to read Now, people that have listened to Dinner and a Podcast know that I love Transformers, the cartoons, not the Michael Bay crap, but. I've tried to read Transformers comics and I just couldn't get into them.
Right.
They're very long in the tooth.
Yes.
They're not. I don't know. They're hard to read.
They're not action packed. There's a lot of story behind it.
Yeah, lots of story.
But it gives you a history behind the characters that
right,
and gives them more personality.
Yeah, it's a lot of politics.
Yeah.
A lot of Cybertronian politics.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I much rather watch the shows. But you've been reading books since you're a little guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how long now have you been reading comics?
Probably 20 plus years.
Wow. See, I didn't always read comics. I started reading comics maybe 5-10 years ago.
Right.
And it didn't even start as reading comics. It kind of just started as going on Wikipedia pages and kind of filling myself in with stuff.
Who's this? What's that?
Right. Because once the movies started coming out and getting big, you get interested in it. And you want to know what else is out there. You want to know what other stories are out there. Like when Batman 89 came out, how old was I? 7 years old? I think we were 7 years old when Batman 89 came out. And at that point, I'd never read a comic book ever. But I remember going to the store and buying my first comic. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what issue it was, but it was definitely a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man. 100%. It was a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man issue.
Yeah.
And I remember just seeing that artwork and going nuts over it. And now I go to the store every Wednesday. And I'm getting my books.
It's a rabbit hole you fall into.
Oh, it's big time. Big time. And it gets real expensive.
You just get one. And the thing is, you don't fall in love with the characters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's the artists, the writers. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, this guy's doing Wolverine. Right. Now he's doing Batman. This one's doing Superman, and they moved to Spider-Man.
Right.
So you're buying all those books for the artists now on top of the characters. And even if the character sucks, or you buy a book that you don't like, you're like, well, at least I can go to a different...
Right.
superhero and
if I see Soul, if I see Soul on anything, I'll buy it because I love his Daredevil.
Yep.
I don't currently on my pull list. I don't get Justice League, but Snyder's writing the next Justice League.
Yeah.
And I got to get Scott Snyder's Justice League next week, which we'll talk about later.
Well, that's why I picked for next week. Yeah. That was on my pull list.
All right, cool.
The artist and Snyder, I love both of them. So I was like, I'm going to pick this up.
Who was the writer? Jimenez, I think. It might have been Jimenez. But we'll talk about that. We'll get back into that later. So what we want to do is our goal is to upload every Wednesday. And it's not going to be the books for that week. It's going to be... We're going to give you a week's worth of time to read the books. So today, we're going to be talking about last week's books, not the books that came out today. So we're going to be discussing Spider-Man 800.
Yep.
And we're going to be discussing Hunt for Wolverine together. And then after that, we'll discuss the books that we read independently.
Yep.
And then after that, we'll talk about what books we're excited to read for next week.
Yep.
And I think that really wraps it up. I don't think I gave my little background. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, just like you. I'm really into Batman. Anything that Batman has, I buy.
Right.
Spider-Man, we'll talk about more in a minute. And I love the Green Lantern. Green Lantern. I'm really getting into Superman now. I was never really a Superman guy, but the guys who are doing the art for Superman right now are fantastic.
Because growing up, the two companies did things a lot differently. Were you a Marvel guy or a DC guy?
Growing up, I was a Marvel guy,
Right?
Because I think it was a little bit more happy and a little bit. It was in your face too. I think because like I didn't watch Batman the animated series. I watched Spider-Man animated series. I watched 92 X-Men. Those are my shows. I really didn't do the Batman show, which is crazy famous. You know, everyone watched it. I watch it as an adult, and I watch the Justice League now as an adult. But as a kid, those weren't the cartoons I gravitated to. I was more of the X-Men and Spider-Man kind of guy.
Okay.
But now that I'm getting older, I like the grittiness of DC. I really love Hal Jordan. I love Hal Jordan. He's one of my favorites.
I'm like you. Growing up was always Marvel.
Yeah.
I like that their books were, typically a one shot of an issue. They had overarching stories every now and again.
Yeah.
But nothing like they have now.
Right.
DC was always a big storyline, and they were always, like you said, with Transformers, super wordy. And I was like, nah, I can't get into it. But now I've switched. Like, I love DC because it's one shots, short story arcs, one overarching story that's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Not too many tie-ins. Marvel's kind of gotten away from their old pattern of, you could just pick up this story and get along with it for a few issues. Don't have to worry about tie-ins and all that stuff. But Marvel and DC are swapping places with me right now.
Every once in a while, an Image book or a Black Horse book or a Black Mask book will catch my eye, like Four Kids Walk into a Bank or a Harrow County. Or like what you read, East Meets West. Yep. East of West.
East meets.
It might have been East of West. I don't remember. Or Paper Girls.
Yep.
You really like that one. So we're going to talk about. It's not always going to be superhero stuff.
No.
Maybe every once in a while we'll do a powerless show where we review books.
I read enough of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Very
cool. Maybe a graphic novel show, whatever. We're gonna talk about comics that we like and that we enjoy, and hopefully you like it too. And if you want us to review any books, tell us. We'll go out and we'll get the books and read the books you want us to review. We've also interviewed plenty of comic book artists and plenty of comic book writers. So maybe every once in a while we'll throw in an interview.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get this show started.
All right.
Our favorite character that we both love, Spider-Man, had a big milestone this week, and it was Spider-Man 800. What cover did you get?
I've been buying just the Alex Ross covers.
Okay. Now there were so many variants.
There were like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
It was an expensive book to buy.
Oh yeah, it's 80 pages.
I think it was like $10.
Pages. It was $10, really?
Yeah.
I gotta check that out. $9.99. You're right.
$10.
You know what's really nice? We have the books in front of us.
Yep.
I'm really getting into this. Yeah, I got this artwork. I think I got the same cover you got.
Yeah.
But in the back, they have all these different covers. What you think of the overall story?
I like the story.
Yeah. Oh, this is a spoiler show, by the way. Every
yeah.
book that we're talking about, if you didn't read it yet, you might want to turn off. I'm going to put the list of things that we're talking about in the description.
It started at $7.97, and it was called Go Down Swinging.
Yeah.
And it's basically the Green Goblin is back, and he gets the Carnage symbiote.
Yeah. And I got to say, I love the twist they put on the Green Goblin here.
Yes.
Because he becomes the Red Goblin.
Yeah.
And he has the Carnage symbiote, and he is just a badass freaking villain, man.
I thought it was great. It was an unbeatable villain for Spider-Man. And he gets to that point in I think it's like the 99.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
And he has the help of everybody. Miles Morales, Silk.
Spider-Gwen.
Was Spider-Gwen in there? I don't think so.
She wasn't it?
No.
Oh, Silk was. You're right. Anti-Venom.
Yeah. Like, they're all there helping him, and none of them could stop him. They're all super cocky. We're Spider-Man. There's 2 of us. We're going to fight the Green Goblin. He can't stop us all. And he does.
Yeah. The artwork, I thought, across all the books was great. This last one, 800, had like 7 different chapters in it.
Yeah.
And it switched artists.
I don't enjoy that.
See, I didn't mind it. I usually don't enjoy it. But I think they were all fairly consistent. And I think that's what made it okay. Like there was one point where he gets the black Venom suit back.
Yes.
He gets the Venom symbiote. And dude, I was like almost cheering in my house. But there's a page where he gets the black symbiote suit right here. And I was just like, who's drawing this? Because this looks like Humberto Ramos.
Yeah.
And I checked out, I went all the way to the beginning. I stopped reading the book, and there it was, Humberto Ramos. And I'm like, oh, you can't mistake that for anybody else.
Yeah.
That's Ramos's Spider-Man. And I totally dug it. There wasn't any art that took me out of it, because sometimes when they do this, the art is so different that it kind of takes you out of it a little bit.
I didn't like the first chapter's artist, Nick Bradshaw.
Okay, let's check that out.
For the most part, everything else was fine.
You know what? I think I don't mind this, but I'm glad it was first.
Right.
If this was later in the book, I would have really disliked it.
Yeah.
Because it's a little, I don't want to say childish.
Yeah.
But it looks like a kid's book, like a kid's comic. And I'm okay with it because they started with it, and then they progressively got darker and more realistic and grittier. But I think they did a very good job of tying it all together with all these different artists. How'd you like this issue 800? Because it's a milestone issue, and it's Dan Slott's last run.
I really liked it.
You did.
I liked the twist behind it.
I had mixed feelings about it.
Really?
Yeah. So I liked so much of it, and I disliked so much of it.
All right. What did you like about it?
I liked the first 6 chapters of the 7.
Okay.
Right? How many chapters were there? Were there 7 chapters? I gotta check that out.
So him getting the symbiote, the battles.
Oh, this art in the end.
Yep.
Which was the return of Harry Osborn.
Yep.
That art is terrible.
Yeah.
I can't stand that kind of art. I don't know who did that, but I'm not a big fan of that. But yeah, so what did I like?
Yeah.
I love the art.
Okay.
Art was great across the board. I remember saying that to myself, and I love the black suit.
Okay.
I'm glad that he got the black suit.
I like how he gets it.
Yeah, I like how he gets it too. Basically, it's given to him
By Eddie Brock. Yeah.
Which is really cool. What did you like about the book?
Same thing. The black costume I really loved. Mm-hmm. When I first picked up the book, I started with the part 1,
right,
and the twist at the end of how the Green Goblin learns everything about Spider-Man is J. Jonah Jameson tells him.
Oh, that was a great reveal.
Yeah,
that was a great reveal. And
in this book, he's trying to be a hero.
Yeah.
And make things right with Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And Spider-Man's on the other side, you're a menace. Get out of here.
Yeah, stop trying to help me.
Yeah, you're just making things worse.
Yeah.
And at the end, spoiler alert, he saves the day, kind of.
Right.
But I like that dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I like the reveal to Flash that he's Spider-Man.
Okay.
Because in all of these books...
Yeah.
Spider-Man's revealed his identity to everybody else.
Right.
They have their code names. They're talking to each other by first name basis, and he's like, "We're adding a new person on.
Yep.
Code names only."
Right.
But Flash is a superhero. He's been part of Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. He's fought with the Avengers. I'm like, he's never found out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Right.
And then in this is the book that you decide to do this.
Right.
And then how it ends is just like, oh shit, this is serious.
The only thing I didn't like was the ending. I don't like the ending, and it's such a Dan Slott ending, and I'm so glad that Dan Slott is off of Spider-Man.
Okay.
I stopped reading Spider-Man. If you look at my long box, there's a 20-issue gap in my Spider-Man issues.
Right.
And I just can't get into Dan Slott because he takes... And I don't know if you read the stuff before this. Right before this, when the Green Goblin first came back.
Right.
And started fighting Spider-Man. They're having a fight in this is when Silver Sable came back into the picture. Mm-hmm. This was a while back. Mm-hmm. This is quite a long time ago. Where Norman Osborn becomes the Green Goblin again. And they're fighting in the ski lodge in Russia or something. They're fighting on some ski lodge. They're tumbling down a mountain in snow. They get to the bottom of the snow, and it's like, all right, man, oh man, no powers versus no weapons. And that happened again in this book, where he's like, no more symbiote, and I won't do whatever I won't use my symbiote, and you don't use your symbiote, and blah, blah, blah. That's how it should be. And I'm like, he used this already. He already did this.
Yep.
And Spider-Man wasn't the freaking hero.
No, not in this book.
No. And, dude, it's Spider-Man 800. Yep. It's not J. Jonah Jameson 800. It's not Venom 800.
I thought Jameson was going to die.
Okay.
I didn't see Flash dying.
Yeah.
But, okay, no big deal for me.
But Flash is the hero.
He was.
Flash is the hero.
He saves everybody.
Eddie Brock is the hero. And J. Jonah Jameson is the hero.
You need to fill me in on where the hell Dr. Octopus became a hero and when he comes back.
All right. So Dr. Octopus becomes like Hydro Doc Ock.
Right.
With this was in the Clone Saga.
Okay.
All right. So at the end of the Clone Saga, you had Dr. Octopus making a Ben Reilly clone, which he's in now. So that's why he looks like Peter Parker. Like he was in this robot for a very long time.
They didn't show what he looked like in the books.
Okay. Well, he's a Peter Parker clone.
He's in a Spider-Man looking costume.
Yeah,
and he's
green.
got the tentacles.
Yeah, and it's
he's the one that saves Aunt May.
Right. And he worked for Hydra. So that's why he has the green color.
That bothered me.
Yeah, so coming out of Clone Saga, he becomes a Ben Reilly clone, a Spider-Man, and then he works for Hydra. He works for Captain America in Hydra. And then I guess he saves Aunt May because of the Superior Spider-Man issues, right? Because when he was Spider-Man, when he was Superior Spider-Man, I'm assuming he got close to
He
Aunt
said
May.
he makes a comment. I still have your memories,
Right.
And that part of me, that responsibility is still there.
Yeah.
So he's
like, this woman showed you nothing but love and did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yep.
I didn't mind that people helped him, but in the end, I wanted it to be Spider-Man.
That stopped him.
You know what I mean? I wanted it to be Spider-Man that either outthought him or outpowered him or outquipped him, something.
And I thought the end of the book where Norman Osborn's in prison.
Yeah.
And he goes to see if he remembers anything about him.
Right.
And he doesn't.
Yeah, that was like...
I'm like, that was such a cop-out.
Yeah, why did that even happen? Because he got a bus thrown at him?
Yeah.
Because that's how Spider-Man ultimately defeats him, right? He just throws a bus on him.
But it always happens. Like, that's like the Green Goblin, mythos.
Right.
He gets amnesia and he can never remember anything once the serum wears off. And I'm like, you know what? Enough.
Yeah.
If you were going to end it, you should have just ended Green Goblin.
Because I thought at the end he got away. Like, there was a panel at the end of the story, like, after he gets hit with the bus, that it almost looks like he gets away.
No, they meet in prison.
No, I know that, but, like, over here, if you're looking at this panel here, like, who's this running away?
That's J. Jonah Jameson.
That's Jonah?
Yep.
Okay. Because, like, I guess that's his vest.
Like it's something out of a Batman comic.
Yeah. I loved, like, the art was cool. And why is he wearing a sling? Why is Spider-Man wearing a sling? I know he got shot and all, but...
Broke his arm. My arm is broken.
I don't know, man. I was hoping I was hoping for a different ending.
I didn't mind it.
Because there were parts that gave me goosebumps.
I initially only bought the books for the covers.
Right. For the Alex Ross art. Because it was insane.
Because it was great. The first cover is the Green Goblin coming through the Spider-Man symbol.
Yeah, so good, man.
Right?
So good, yeah.
And then the second one was the two of them battling.
Yeah.
And then you get what's this like red goblin looking thing.
With the tail. The tail is cool. I didn't know how I felt about the tail at first.
I didn't know how I felt about like him throwing the bombs.
Yeah.
And they had personality.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But I was like, all right, that works. Like he can't get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how when Spider-Man has the Venom symbiote and he gets angry, he turns into like the burly Venom.
Yeah. And
then Flash is like, no, I taught the symbiote how to be calm.
Right.
So don't use that anger. Don't bring that anger to that symbiote again.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, like there's a personality in it. The symbiote's a character now.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a personality. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was neat. Because if you think about it, who did Spider-Man save? He didn't save Aunt May. That was Doc Ock.
He didn't save Mary Jane.
He didn't save Mary Jane. That was Eddie Brock.
Yep. He doesn't save Norman Osborn.
He doesn't save Silk or Miles or any of the others. Who does that? Anti-Venom.
Yep.
Spider-Man didn't save anybody. He's a shitty... Dan Slott makes him a powerless hero.
Yep.
I'm so glad he's off. Have you read Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man?
It's on my my docket.
That's a fun book.
Okay.
That's a fun book. That's Chip Zdarsky and Adam Kubert doing the art. Great little book. It's fun.
Maybe we'll talk about that in future episodes.
Sure. I got 3 that I haven't read yet.
Yep.
But it's a fun little book. You want to give this a grading? You want to give it a rank or not a rank, a score out of 5?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to give 800, just the 800 book. Mm-hmm. I'll give this a 3 out of 5 because the majority of this book was good. I just didn't personally like the last chapter. Overall, as a story, I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
I think I'll go 3 out of 5. It was a good story. I enjoyed it. I like the Green Goblin stuff more than I like the Spider-Man stuff. I'll be very honest there with you. And how many variants are there? It gives you a whole page of variants.
Easily
there.
9.
Easily, right?
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I building up to the story, I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
It got me back into Spider-Man.
Right.
I like the art, despite the one artist.
Right.
It was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so go check that out if you like Spider-Man, or hopefully you read it already. You know what? This is a good show if you want to know what's going on in comics,
Or
but
you're on the fence to buying a book. You don't want to spend $10 on 800.
Right. Or if you don't have the time to go buy them and read them.
Yep.
Listen to our show.
Yeah.
We'll give you a good rundown on what's up. We'll always stick to the main characters, the Spider-Mans and Batmans and Supermans and stuff.
I would go so far to say if you're going to buy the story arc, and you like individual art covers,
yeah,
it's worth the probably $30 to buy.
Yeah.
All 4 or 5 issues. I think it's 4 issues. If you want to just buy it for the story, wait for it to come out in a trade. Probably get it like in your local shop. Wait for it to go on sale, $10 on Amazon or wherever, and save yourself the extra $20.
Sure.
Because it's a great story.
Yep.
From start to the end, it's a different take on a villain, and a combination of heroes.
I hope to see more of this Red Goblin though in the future. I know the Carnage symbiote is taken from him.
Right.
But I really hope it's not the end of it. Because the drawing was cool. I even like how they... Oh, no, you know what? It's not the end of it. Because the little kid, Normie...
Still has it
in his eyes.
I didn't like that.
You didn't like that he took his grandson? I thought that was great.
But then he gave him the symbiote, and then...
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a great way to pass on that symbiote for more stories. I don't know how weird it's going to be if it's in a kid. But, maybe they don't revisit it for a while.
I'm going to watch Spider-Man punch a kid in the face.
I shot Marvin in the face.
Comic Book Corner, brought to you by Comic Book Jones, located at 2220 Forest Avenue in Staten Island, and Royal Collectibles at 9601 Metropolitan Avenue in Queens, New York. Visit these fine establishments for all of your comic book needs.
All right, book number 2 that we're going to talk about is The Hunt for Wolverine.
Yep. You've been talking about this book for forever.
I really enjoy it.
Right.
And you and I have both been kind of falling off the Marvel wagon lately. Because Marvel books just, first of all, there's too many number 1s. Every week there's like 4 number 1 books.
Right.
And you don't know which ones to read and which ones are in continuity with other ones. So I almost buy hardly any Marvel books.
Yeah.
But I love X-Men. I love Wolverine especially. And when I saw this was going to be it's only a 4-issue book.
Right.
The Hunt for Wolverine itself is only 4 issues. There are offshoots, which we'll talk about. But I picked this up and I really enjoyed this book. How'd you like it?
I loved it.
Overall.
I was skeptical about it.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Yeah, it's really good. So for those of you who don't know, Wolverine, dies in this universe. And it's a very famous comic with a very famous cover of Wolverine entombed in molten adamantium. You've probably seen the cover or the picture of it where he's kind of like on his knees with his hands in front of him with his claws out, and he's covered in molten adamantium. And the X-Men took his body out into the woods. They put him in like a cabin.
In Canada.
Yeah, in Canada. And it's like his shrine. It's like a shrine to Wolverine, kind of like a mausoleum for Wolverine. Well, the book opens up with the Reavers. And the Reavers are going to the mausoleum to steal Wolverine's body from the tomb so that they can get his DNA to use it for cloning purposes. But before they could get into the tomb and get who shows up, the X-Men.
Yeah.
To kind of scare them away.
Right.
Then they kind of flash back. They flash back, which I really enjoyed.
I love that.
Yeah, it was really cool, right?
Yep. I really like that.
They do this flashback where other superheroes were coming to the mausoleum to pay their respects to Wolverine. It was kind of like people were visiting his gravesite and saying their piece and talking to Wolverine. And a whole bunch of people show up that you don't normally see in comic books, especially Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, where has he been?
Right. And, he sits there and he says to Logan, I'm sorry that, this happened to you and we miss you and all this stuff. And, the X-Men decide that this is not a proper burial for Wolverine. For some reason, they don't think that melting your friend in molten metal and to kill him was a fitting way to die for,
Right.
for Logan. So what they decide to do is they decide to secretly remove his body from the adamantium.
I thought that was really cool.
The way that the way that they thought about doing, because you're like, how did Wolverine get out of adamantium?
Right.
The way they did it was Kitty Pryde was able to phase him out of his whole body out of the adamantium casing.
And there was a part in there where she's like, I'm trying to differentiate between the adamantium that's covering him and his skeleton.
Right. And the adamantium surrounding the outside of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really
That
cool.
was really cool.
And Kitty Pryde's a really cool character.
Yes.
And just to give a shout out to Todd Knock, that is Todd Knock's favorite Marvel superhero. So Kitty successfully gets Wolverine's body out of the adamantium, and she is with Storm, and she's with Beast and Colossus and Cyclops. They're the only people that know that this is going down.
Right.
And they bury him in the dirt, out in nature. They don't tell anybody where it is. They don't, they let everyone think, because the adamantium tomb is intact, they let everyone think that he's still in there. That's why the Reavers are attacking the tomb. As they're attacking the tomb, they don't know Wolverine's missing.
Yep.
Or that Wolverine's not in there until
they crack it open.
They crack it open and they realize that there is no Wolverine in there. Then it goes on and on and on, and Kitty goes to the gravesite in the woods where they buried him to kind of pay her respect. She talks to him.
Yeah.
Whenever she's down, she goes to the woods and she talks to him, and she realizes that something's up, and she phases herself through the dirt and realizes Wolverine's body is gone.
Yep.
And she doesn't know if Wolverine's alive
or someone stole him.
Or someone stole him. And that's when she decides she's gonna go on a mission to find the hunt for Wolverine. And she goes to who else? At the end, does she go to?
I really like this part. She talks to Tony Stark about your teammate of his. He wasn't just part of the X-Men. He was an Avenger. He was part of Alpha Flight. He was part of all these other teams. And she enlists his help to find him. Right. And I like the dialogue between the two of them of, well, am I the first one you came to? And she's like, no.
And he gets all pissed off.
Well, who'd you go to, get?
Yeah.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
And he's got a certain skill set that you don't have.
Right.
And he was like, okay, well, not a big deal, but...
He was a little...
I'm the first scientist you came to, kind of thing.
Right.
He kind of like twisted it a little bit.
Dude, this drawing here of Kitty coming through Tony Stark's room as she phases through his wall.
She goes through all of his securities.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, is it Friday or does he name it something else?
I don't even know what it's called now.
Because the house lets him know, like, oh, you got an intruder. And he's like, all right, don't worry about it. Just, protocol number 1.
Yep.
He goes, all right, protocol number 1 defeated, moving to level 2. He's like, all right, yeah, just move to level 2. And it keeps moving up levels of priority.
Yeah.
Because it can't stop her.
Yep.
But when she finally enters, I think that's such a beautiful drawing.
It's great.
I don't know who did this. Not sure who did this. Marquez? Beautiful, beautiful drawing. I actually want to attempt that. And then the Daredevil part at the end, I love. Whoever did this, that Daredevil picture on the opening where he's perched on the rooftop. Oh, it's beautiful.
I can't wait to read the tie-ins.
Oh, they're good. I've read them, so we'll talk about those next week.
But then it goes to the Reavers.
Yep.
And the Reavers kind of report to Lady Deathstrike, and they tell her the body's gone. What do you want us to do? And she just like totally calls them off. And there's another like alternate motivation for her. I think there's still a level of respect that that was her rival.
Right.
She wanted the best him, not the way this happens.
Right. And then at the end, you see Kitty going up to all the ladies in the X-Men. You got Rogue, you got Storm.
Basically, everybody Wolverine's had a
Psylocke, Jubilee, and she basically says, "We're going on the hunt, and we got these people looking here, and we're gonna go look in this other place, and let's go do it." And that's when the offshoots start. And the offshoots have one offshoot is with Daredevil, and it's called Weapon Lost.
Yep.
And that deals with Daredevil being a detective and trying to figure out where Wolverine could have went off to. Mm-hmm. You have another one,
Adamantium Agenda.
The Adamantium Agenda, which was such a great book. I can't wait for you to read it. I'm not going to say anything about it now because I want you to read it. But it's the Defenders.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones with Iron Man.
But Iron Man's not even in it. Like, I don't know why he's on the cover. Like, he's barely in this issue.
Well, I guess because he was he's team number 2.
I guess. But this is more of a Defenders and Wolverine story.
Right.
And it's such a, it doesn't really give you much except for the fact that it's like a big flashback. The book is a big flashback. And you know what? There is Tony Stark at the end. Because they have to actually, after the flashback they have to kind of complete a mission.
Okay.
And Tony's there for that. So he is in the book. And then what else do they got?
Claws of the Killer, which is Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, and Daken.
Yeah, that book was probably my least memorable out of all of them.
Right.
That book was like strictly flashbacks. It went through like each one of them and how they felt about Wolverine.
Got it.
Which was pretty cool. The Mystery in Madripoor was a very good book. It's
Yeah.
an all-female cast of Domino, Psylocke, Storm, Jubilee, Rogue, and they all go to Madripoor to talk to Magneto.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's a big twist, which I'm not going to say.
All right.
So next week we're going to talk about the Hunt for Wolverine tie-ins,
Okay.
the first issues of each one.
Yep.
Okay, and then we're going to talk also about No Justice, which I've read all 4 issues of No Justice, and I'm absolutely loving it. If you read Dark Knight's Metal, go. If you haven't read Dark Knight's Metal, go read it. It's amazing. It's
Right.
one of our favorite things of the year. The No Justice is what happens directly after Dark Knight's Metal. It's the repercussions of Dark Knight's Metal, and then that's going to tie directly into the new Justice League book, which we're going to talk about next week too. So we got No Justice, Justice League, and the Hunt for Wolverine tie-ins.
Yep.
And so what else did you read this week?
I caught up on a lot of back issue stuff.
Okay.
So it was a book that you started, but you gave up on.
Oh, I can't deal with this.
Silencer.
I can't deal with the artwork, man.
It's
a cool book.
It's great. It's like John Wick.
It is, but it's drawn like
I love the art.
Smurfs.
I love Romita Jr.
I hate him.
It's fantastic.
I hate Romita Jr.
So she's an ex, like let's say mercenary.
Yeah.
Who's hired by Talia Ghul, and there's a big gang war.
Yeah.
Talia takes over, gives her freedom. She starts a family, and then all of a sudden,
It's really like John Wick.
yeah. All of a sudden, well, no one's died yet.
Right. And her name is Silencer.
Yeah, she's back in the mix again because the balance is shifting towards the other side.
I don't know. It was a little contrived.
Yeah, but the big twist at the end was Deathstroke gets involved.
Okay.
This was one of the characters in the new heroes that DC launched.
Yes.
But-
Some of them I like.
Yeah, they're all tying into the universe.
Right.
So Deathstroke comes, they do a big battle because
I don't even think I got that far.
he the last kill that she had
Yeah.
was somebody in her own organization,
Okay.
and he was like, you don't do this because you don't kill someone that's part of your team, I guess, right?
Sure.
But Talia told her to kill her if you want your freedom, and she did it because that was her out.
Yeah.
Deathstroke's back now to tell her, look, you're being used. You were never out because Talia didn't let you. So she decides she's going to meet with Talia, and they're going to have a conversation. And it turns out that was the case. She was being used to be drawn back into this war because it never ended. So once you're in it, you're never out.
Right.
Kind of like John Wick kind of situation.
Well, he was out. He was out. He had to do a favor.
Right, but that's what, like, same thing. She did her
okay.
favor,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she was out, started a family,
Right.
and now it's her and her son, and there's a battle going on. So it's only a matter of time before someone close to her gets killed to like really draw her back in, or
Now her superpower is weird. She can silence things in like a
I think
bubble.
it's more of a technology thing.
Oh, it's a tech-based
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Okay, is that her weird like bubble suit?
Yeah,
She's got a weird bubble suit.
it's good. I really enjoyed
I
it.
can't do this artwork.
But
I turned a page where she was cooking breakfast for her kids, and I was like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It was like the second issue, I think.
The first 3 issues are John Romita Jr.
Yeah.
He does the whole art.
Yeah.
The 4 and 5, they change artists.
Oh, let me see. Let me see 4 and 5. Okay.
So like that bothers me so much because I'm buying the book.
Oh, this is so much better.
I'm buying the book I bought the book for Romita.
Dude, this is so much better. I can actually do this now. It doesn't look like her like in the first two
Right.
issues.
It changes.
Oh, but it's way better. Dude, you can't even... This guy's name is Abnett. Abnett. He's good, man. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, I just John Romita sucks. He just sucks. I can't take it.
I love it. It's a great book. It's a side character outside of the regular universe.
Yeah.
It ties in a little bit, and
They did a whole bunch of these outside characters.
you were buying a bunch.
I bought all of them except for there's a new one coming out next week called Unexpected, which I don't think I'm gonna buy. It doesn't look great. I did buy Brimstone.
Okay.
That's not bad. That's like their Ghost Rider.
Right.
And I love, dude. Did you start reading? I can't remember the name of it. Oh, he's like the Spider-Man dude.
Oh yeah. Sideways.
Sideways.
Yeah.
Dude, this book is great. Did you buy it yet?
No.
The book is awesome.
Okay.
Go out and buy Sideways if you want to start a new character. Last book I'm going to talk about it might have been my favorite book of the week, which was Man of Steel #1. This is Brian Michael Bendis.
His first run, right?
His first run in DC. They gave him Superman. It's called Man of Steel. It's going to be a weekly book. This book comes out every week.
Like Spider-Man.
Yeah. Does Spider-Man come out every week?
I don't
think so. I don't think
It did at one point.
Oh, yeah?
Or bi-weekly.
Yeah, I think it's bi-weekly. But this is the first issue by Bendis, and the artist is Reyes. It's R-E-I-S. I don't know if that's Reyes or Reyes. But I love Superman now. The Action Comics that have been coming out have been amazing. Superman run by itself has been amazing. The art has been great, and this doesn't disappoint either. If anybody's read DC Nation, this kind of picks up right at the end of DC Nation. DC Nation had 3 stories in it.
Right.
One of them was the wedding with Batman, with the Joker, and the final story was Jim Lee writing with Bendis of the Man of Steel. It was like a prelude to Man of Steel, where we find out that Krypton didn't end the way we thought Krypton ended.
Didn't explode?
It exploded, but it didn't explode because of why it exploded.
Okay.
So Superman's under the impression that the world just ended because of some dire need for the world to explode or something like that. But apparently it was somebody else. There's another entity that's involved in the destruction of Krypton, and it's Rogal Zar. Okay. We met him at the end of DC Nation, and this book opens up with Rogal Zar talking to kind of like a committee of galactic entities.
Okay.
One of which I recognize. It's one of the Guardians from the Green Lantern.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, one of the creators of the Green Lantern rings.
Right.
I don't recognize the other guys necessarily, but I'm sure we'll get involved with them later. Mm-hmm. But he's basically he's pleading to them that the Kryptonians are going to ruin the galaxy.
Okay.
And basically they go from place to place, stripping everywhere of their resources, and if they're not stopped, they're going to destroy the galaxy.
Right.
So the little council here, they call themselves the Circle. They're like, let us think about it, and we'll get back to you. And then you don't see him for a while. It goes to present day, and it's a really cool little Superman story. And it's Superman just fighting crime with a smile on his face, and that's what you want out of Superman.
He's classic Superman now.
Dude, classic. I love this artwork, man.
Yeah,
I love
it looks
this
great.
artwork. It looks amazing. And he's grabbing low-level criminals out of banks, out of robbing banks and other little crime situations. And he has no idea what's going on.
Right.
And there's at one point here he's flying around Metropolis and he's listening for crimes, and he hears someone singing a song, and he's like, I didn't want to pry, I didn't want to be nosy, but this girl's voice is just so beautiful, and I love the way she sings this song. And it's just real Superman.
Right.
It's hopeful, bright, energetic, hopeful Superman. Then he goes to a fire, and he's saving kids from the fire.
Superman doing Superman stuff.
Superman doing Superman stuff. He saves a little girl and her 2 puppies. Come on.
Yep.
You don't get better than that. He covers them in a cape so they don't get burned. He brings them out. He's talking to the fire chief after the fire. He's talking to the fire chief, who I think is going to show up more often because for some reason they spent 3-4 pages on her, and they give you her name as well.
Is that like his Commissioner Gordon?
Yeah, her name is Melody Moore. She's the new deputy fire chief.
No idea.
I don't know either. I know she's brand new. She says she's only been a week on the job.
You believe that?
Yeah, I guess. But apparently there's been a whole bunch of arson in town lately. So I think that's going to come back in the next couple issues. Who's doing the arson?
Sounds like a job for Batman.
It does sound like a job for Batman. And then at the end of the book, towards the end of the book, the third act, I'm going to call it.
Right.
The Rogal Zar is on his planet doing his thing. I think he's training. He's like fighting like dinosaurs and like alien animals. Mm-hmm. He's a big dude. this Rogol Zar guy. He kind of looks like a Troticus, the Red Lantern, the big Red Lantern dude.
Oh yeah.
Atrocitus.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how to pronounce it, but he kind of looks like that dude. But he's like fighting like dinosaurs and things. And then all of a sudden, the Guardian shows up from the Green Lantern and was like, "Yeah, we thought about it, and we're gonna let Krypton just, phase out on its own.
Oh,
It's not our place to end the Kryptonians because we don't like what they're doing. They'll either fix it on their own or they'll burn out. Let it happen naturally.
Right.
And you can imagine that Rogol Zar is not happy about this decision. So we go back to present day. Clark's in the office writing for the Daily Planet. Blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, at the end of the book, they're looking out the window and something's illuminating them out the window. And they look very scared, and you don't know what it is coming at them from outside. And that's where the book ends. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait for next week. You get a free digital copy of this book.
so this guy basically ended Krypton, even though someone said not to.
Yeah. I don't know what this dude did to end a world.
Superman's not going to be happy about it. Hopefully Superman's gone.
Maybe.
Pissed off Superman's back.
But that's the first episode of Comic Book Corner. And you can find Comic Book Corner. I mean, I don't even know why I would even say that, because if you're listening to this right now, you know exactly where to find it. But next week, so here are some issues that I wrote down that we're going to discuss that came out this week.
Yep.
That we're
Our pull list.
Our pull list. So I got Batman, Nightwing versus the Hush.
Yep.
Or versus Hush.
I'm going to get that one too.
Batman versus Deathstroke comes out this week.
I'll pick that up.
Justice League, like we said, the Snyder Justice League. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pick up Brimstone, number 4. I'll pick up Man of Steel, number 2.
I will.
That's it for DC for me. And then Marvel, I'm thinking about Ant-Man and the Wasp, number 1.
Nope.
Dazzler, number 1.
Nope.
You know why I'm going to buy Dazzler, number 1? Because Todd Knock drew me a Dazzler.
Okay.
And I just want to figure out, because it was the cheapest one I could afford from him. I had no idea who it was. I was like, she's an X-Man, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, it's $80. I'll take it.
Is he doing the artwork?
He's not.
He's doing a Spider-Man run.
He's doing the Colossus Kitty Pryde wedding.
We should pick that up and talk about it.
I got it.
Okay.
So yeah, pick it up and read it. We'll talk about it next week. And
we have Hunt for Wolverine, Weapons Lost number 2.
Number 2, so that's the Daredevil run. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to pick up the Immortal Hulk.
The cover looks great. It's an Alex Ross cover.
You love Alex Ross. You're going to pick it up because it's Alex Ross.
I don't know.
Yeah, you are.
Maybe not.
What else? You got anything else on your list that
No, that's it.
That's it, right? All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Comic Book Corner. We enjoyed it. We're going to go record dinner and podcast now.
Yeah.
Mike and Sebby are coming over.
Mm-hmm.
So until next week, I'm Steve.
I'm Joe.
And suck it, Sale.